My parents said they had no money for my college, but paid for my brothers in full. I never thought my own parents could turn their backs on me, but life's funny that way. Sometimes the people who raise you are the first to shove you aside. I'm Mia Reynolds, 18, a high school senior from Portland, Oregon, with dreams bigger than the soggy streets I grew up on. My world was a patchwork of hand-me-downs and half-kept promises, stitched together in a cramped suburban house where Mom and Dad ruled like Jake was the sun, and I was just a shadow. Jake's my brother, 2 years younger, a cocky 16-year-old with a grin that could charm the paint off a wall. Me? I've been the afterthought since I can remember. Forgotten birthdays, his new sneakers while I patched mine with duct tape, Jake's the priority, ringing in my ears like a broken record. Still, I kept my head down, worked my ass off at Brew Haven Coffee, and saved every dime for college, thinking maybe, just maybe, they'd see me too. It was a drizzly May evening when I finally asked. I'd aced my finals, college apps done, and Portland State's acceptance letter sat wrinkled in my pocket. My ticket out. I found Mom in the kitchen, her dark hair pinned up, stirring soup, and Dad on the couch, his graying buzz cut bent over a car magazine. "Hey," I started, voice shaky. "I got into PSU. Tuition's $10,000 a year. Can you help?" Mom's spoon paused, her thin lips tightening. Dad didn't look up. "No money, Mia," he grunted. "Car's shot, bills are piling, tight times." Mom nodded, weary. "You're tough, sweetie. You'll figure it out." My chest sank, a cold weight settling, but I swallowed the hurt. "Okay," I mumbled, retreating to my room, their words a fresh bruise on a lifetime of scars. Days later, the truth hit like a freight train. I was wiping tables at Brew Haven, apron-stained, when Mrs. Carter, our nosy neighbor, breezed in for her latte. "Heard the news?" she chirped, eyes gleaming. "Your folks paid Jake's full ride to that fancy private uni. Dorms, car, the works." My rag froze mid-swipe, stomach lurching. "What?" I croaked. She beamed, oblivious. "Oh, yes, $40,000 a year. They're so proud." The room spun, coffee steam choking me. I forced a nod, hands trembling, and bolted to the back, rage bubbling over the shock. They'd lied. Broke for me, flush for him. That night, dinner was a battlefield. Jake strutted in, new jacket gleaming, while I sat, fists clenched, soup cold in my bowl. Mom served him extra, gushing, "Our boy's off to big things." Dad clapped his shoulder, grinning. "Future's bright, Jake." I couldn't hold it. I slammed my spoon down, the clatter cutting through. "What about me?" I snapped, voice raw. "You said there's no money, then paid his tuition? $40,000? Mom flinched, Dad's grin faded. Jake smirked, leaning back. "Chill, Mia. They know a good bet." Mom sighed, avoiding my eyes. "He's our chance, honey. You're strong. You'll manage." Dad nodded, firm. "Priorities, Mia. That's life." The words sliced deep, years of neglect exploding in my chest. Every ignored plea, every Jake's turn since I was 6, now this. My eyes burned, but I blinked back tears, fury swallowing the hurt. "You've always chosen him," I said, low, trembling. "Since I was a kid. His toys, his lessons, now his college. I'm done begging." Mom reached out, weak. "Mia, we—" I shoved my chair back, storming out, their voices fading behind Jake's laugh. Outside, rain soaked me, matching the storm inside. A lifetime sidelined, my dreams trashed for their golden boy. I kicked a puddle, water splashing, and felt something shift. Anger hardening into steel. I called my coworker Tara, a wiry 20-year-old with pink streaks in her hair, as I paced the wet street. She picked up, voice sharp. "Mia, you sound wrecked. What's up?" I choked out. "They paid Jake's college. Full ride. Told me there's nothing for mine." She cursed, fierce. "That's bullshit. They've ignored you forever. What now?" Rain plastered my hair, but my jaw set. "They think I'm nothing. I'll prove I'm more. They'll choke on it." Tara laughed, dark. "That's my girl. Burn it down." Back in my room, their voices drifted through the wall. Jake's bragging, Mom's praise, each word a nail in my resolve. I'd been invisible to them since I could walk, fetching my own meals while they cheered his every step. Now, at 18, college on the line, they'd picked him again. But I wasn't the kid they'd brushed off anymore. I'd scraped by, built grit they couldn't fathom. They'd bet wrong, and I'd make them see it, step by brutal step. This wasn't just about college. It was about rewriting their mistake in ink they couldn't erase. The weeks after that dinner were a haze of bitter rain and boiling resentment. Each drop on my window a reminder of the life Mom and Dad had stolen from me. I'd lie awake, replaying Jake's smug, good bet, and Mom's weak you'll manage, my fists clenching under the thin blanket I'd slept with since I was 6, while Jake got a new comforter every year. They'd abandoned me from the start, his toys piling up while I scavenged thrift stores, his lessons paid while I taught myself to read from library books. Now, at 18, college dangling just out of reach, they'd handed him $40,000 and left me with excuses. The hurt was a knife, twisting deep, but I sharpened it into something else. A fire to burn their favoritism to the ground and rise from the ashes they'd never see coming. Tara became my lifeline, crashing at my place that first weekend with a 6-pack of soda and a fierce grin. She sprawled on my floor, pink streaks glinting under the lamp, and tossed me a can. "They've screwed you since diapers, Mia," she said, popping hers open. "But you're tougher. Use it." I cracked mine, the fizz snapping me awake, and nodded, voice low. "They think I'll fade. I'll shine so bright they'll choke on it." She laughed, sharp. "That's my girl." "How?" I started with what I had. Brew Haven. Morning slinging lattes turned into hustling, chatting up regulars, pitching Instagram tweaks for their small businesses. A baker named Greg, a burly guy with a beard, hired me first, $50 to revamp his grid. I taught myself Photoshop on free YouTube tutorials, my laptop humming late into the night, fingers raw from scrubbing counters to pay the Wi-Fi bill. Every gig, $20 here, $30 there, was a brick in my wall, stacking up while Jake's Unicash sat pretty in Mom and Dad's pride. I'd been invisible to them forever. Now I'd build something they couldn't ignore. Word spread. Neighbors whispered at Brew Haven, their voices carrying over steaming mugs. "Heard Jake's folks shelled out big. Private school, car, everything," Greg said one shift, shaking his head. "Some sacrifice, huh?" My jaw tightened, fury flaring, sacrifice they'd never made for me. But I forced a smile, pouring his drip. "Yeah, real heroes," I muttered, the sarcasm bitter on my tongue. It fueled me harder. Every tip, every gig, a middle finger to their future. I wasn't just surviving, I was clawing my way up. I took it online, launching Brewing Ambition on Instagram. Coffee art pics snapped on my cracked phone, captions dripping with edge. "Rising from nothing tastes better than handouts." I posted a latte swirl, scribbling, "Some build their own ladders, watch me climb." Followers trickled in, 50, then 100. Baristas, hustlers, strangers, Yuyan, Ing, keep going, and who's sleeping on you? I kept it vague, no names, just vibes, letting the buzz grow. Mom and Dad didn't do socials, but Jake did. I pictured him scrolling, smirking, clueless that my grind was a bomb ticking under their throne. Sarah, a cafe regular with a sleek bob and a marketing gig, noticed my hustle one slow afternoon. She slid into a booth, laptop open, and waved me over. "Your Insta's got legs, kid," she said, her voice crisp. "What's the end game?" I leaned on the counter, apron smeared, and spilled it. College dreams, parents' betrayal, Jake's free ride. Her hazel eyes narrowed, sharp. "Screw 'em, pitch a scholarship, raw, real, I'll tweak it." I grinned, hope flickering, my first real ally. That night, I drafted it. Neglect taught me grit, watch me turn it into gold. Sarah's edits made it sing, and I emailed it to the Portland Future Fund, heart-pounding. The send-off party came a month later, Mom and Dad's big show at our backyard, strung with lights they'd never hung for me. Neighbors clapped as Jake swaggered in a new uni jacket, Mom beaming in her cardigan, Dad toasting with a beer. "Our boy's off to greatness," he boomed, arm around Jake. I served iced tea from a corner, invisible in my hoodie. Their pride a slap I'd felt since childhood. Jake bragged to a cousin, loud, "Classes? Whatever. Party's the point." His grin was all teeth, confidence unearned, and I bit my lip, tasting blood. Tara caught my eye, whispering, "He's a clown. Keep stacking." I nodded, fire roaring. His cracks were showing, and my quiet wins were piling. Cousin Ben, a lanky 19-year-old with glasses, sidled up later, frowning. "They've always babied him," he muttered. "You deserve better, Mia." I squeezed his shoulder, voice low. "I'm getting it. Watch." Sarah texted that night. "Essays in. Nail the waiting game." My Insta hit 300 followers. Gigs doubled. $200 a week now, stashed in a tin under my bed. Jake's uni rumors trickled back via Ben. Skipping lectures, blowing cash on beer runs. Mom and Dad gushed at the party, oblivious. Their investment already fraying. I smiled into my tea, a secret curling in my gut. I wasn't just climbing. I was soaring, and their golden boy was a weight about to sink them. By summer's end, I was a machine. Freelance jobs rolling, skills sharpening, followers cheering. Sarah coached me weekly, her, "You've got this," a lifeline through the grind. Jake's boasts faded. Ben said he'd flunked a midterm, partied instead. I'd spent 18 years in their shadow. His toys, his praise, now his college, while I patched my own path. They thought I'd stay there, a footnote to his story. They didn't see the empire I was forging, brick by brutal brick, ready to tower over their wreckage. This wasn't just survival, it was my launch, and they'd regret betting against me. 4 years after that rainy Portland night, when I vowed to outshine them, I stood in a place they'd never imagined. My own sleek apartment downtown, a view of the Willamette River glinting through floor-to-ceiling windows. I was 22 now, a college grad with a design degree, my freelance career booming thanks to brewing ambition, hitting 10,000 followers, and landing me brand deals with local cafes and startups. I'd turned their betrayal into rocket fuel, every ignored birthday, every "Jake's the future," shoved aside as I clawed my way up, debt-free and fierce. They'd written me off at 18, but I'd rewritten their story, and the ending was about to hit them like a brick. It started with whispers, Ben texting me updates over the years. Jake's flunking. He's partying too much. Mom and Dad's golden boy had crumbled fast, skipping classes for keg stands, blowing through their $40,000 a year investment on failed crypto scams, and a totaled car he'd bragged about. By year 3, he'd dropped out, their savings gutted, the house teetering on foreclosure. I'd kept my distance, building my life, full scholarship from the Portland Future Fund, gigs morphing into a 6-figure side hustle, while their pride sank into the mud. Then, one gray November evening, they showed up. I opened my door to Mom and Dad, haggard shells of the parents who'd dismissed me. Mom's dark hair was graying, uncombed, her cardigan frayed. Dad's buzz cut was patchy, his flannel stained, shoulders slumped. Jake wasn't with them. Ben said he'd crashed at a friend's, jobless. "Mia," Mom started, voice thin, "we need to talk." I leaned on the frame, arms crossed, my green eyes cold. "What's left to say?" Dad shifted, uneasy. "Things got bad. Jake, he messed up. We're broke. House is gone next month." Mom's lip trembled. "We misjudged, honey. Should have bet on you." The words landed, a lifetime of neglect flashing. Me in patched jeans while Jake got new kicks. My 10th birthday skipped for his Little League trophy. College cash, they swore, didn't exist handed to him on a platter. My chest tightened, a flicker of old hurt. But I crushed it, fury rising instead. "Misjudged?" I snapped, voice sharp. "You abandoned me since I was a kid. No toys, no parties, no college. Jake's the future, right? Where's your future now?" Dad flinched, rubbing his neck. "We thought he'd make it. Thought you'd be fine." Mom reached out, desperate. Help us, Maya. Just a little. We're family. I laughed, a low, bitter sound, stepping back. Family? You picked him every time. Left me to scrape by while he got everything. I built this. I gestured at the apartment, the sleek desk piled with design work. Without you. You chose him. Live with it. Mom's tears spilled. Dad's jaw clenched, but I felt no pity, just a clean, hard satisfaction. Please, Mia, Mom whispered. We're sorry. I shook my head, firm. Too late. Figure it out, like I did. They shuffled off, shadows in the hall, and I shut the door. The click of final cut to 18 years of their chains. Tara dropped by that night. Pink streaks faded, but her grin bright. Heard they came crawling, she said, flopping on my couch with a beer. I smirked, sipping mine. Begged like I'd saved their sinking ship. Told him to swim. She cackled, raising her bottle. To the queen who rose from their trash. We clinked, and I exhaled. Relief, pride, a weight gone. My Insta buzzed, followers cheering a post. Built my castle from their crumbs. Portland's creative scene knew me now. Self-made, unshakable. While Jake's a punchline, their house a for sale sign nobody wants. Sarah texted the next day. Saw your glow up, proud mentor here. I grinned, framing a shot of the river from my window, peace settling in. They'd bet on the wrong kid from the start. His crib over my cradle, his college over my dreams, and I'd turned their scraps into gold. Ben said they're crashing with a cousin, Jake bumming rides, their future a wreck I'd outrun. I'd spent my childhood in their shadow, but at 22, I cast my own light, bright enough to blind them. Standing there, beer in hand, I felt Grandma Rose's grit in me. She'd have loved this. The kid they ignored toppling their throne. They'd picked favorites and lost everything. I'd picked myself and won. Guess who's laughing now? It's wild how neglect can forge you into steel. I made their mistake my launch pad, and it feels damn good. But I'm curious. What about you out there? What would you do if your family bet against you and lost? Drop it below. I'm all ears.